Hey there, Shawna Karrasch here, coming to you from England. I'm coming to you from Equilibre Horses with Joe Hughes' place in out here at Lincolnshire. Anyway, so this question today, it comes from Amar Asghar, and he says, I have an Arab that bites and rears a lot, and his problem that he does not have fear in his dictionary. If I hold a stick just to keep him out of biting me, not to punish him, he will attack, and his face is untouchable because of the bad experiences he has with his ex-owners. This horse is the hardest horse I've had because he's dangerous to stay near him. Okay, yes, so basically what you have is a horse who has learned out of fear to take care of himself. And he has found at some point with whatever handling he's had in the past that the only way he can take care of himself is to be proactive, you know. So he kind of learns, I got to make people, he's learned, okay, let me break it down even a little bit simpler. If any behavior increases or maintains in frequency, it's being reinforced by something in his environment. So probably the history of this is somewhere along the line, people were using aversives to create respect in him. I hate those air quotes, but I've been doing them all day or all weekend. But they to earn what people refer to as respect in their horses. But oftentimes what's just happened is it's a fear or not an understanding, and then as they get fearful and they back down, if it isn't good enough and it keeps happening, they don't know what else to do, and it gets to a point where it feels more like survival. It's me or you, and then so they end up thinking, I have to go towards this person and stop it. Then they stop it somehow, get them to back off, even if it's for a second, and it works, and it becomes a reinforcement history. So now you're kind of in a quandary, because he's probably going to keep going. If you get to the point where you're going toe-to-toe with him and you're getting confrontational, he'll probably continue to escalate because he's at a point where he thinks it's his survival, you know. So this is just his old history coming. So what I find is the best situation. One is I will teach them things first. A horse that would be this aggressive, I recommend you maybe start with protected contact. You know, and there's a lot of information that could help here that I don't necessarily know about. So does he have, like, can you just hand feed him? Will he lead with you? Is he decent about other things? Or is he just certain times that he gets biting and kind of going at you? Or is it all the time? So trying to find a place where you can work within his threshold. You know, so if there's a certain point, like he's kind of normal at a certain point, and then he gets to a place where he becomes... you know, if we go into this environment, all of a sudden he escalates and now he becomes proactive and he starts going towards the people. Or it's every time we get near that other mare, or every time we get, you know, so if you know of a place where he's good and a place where he tends to be worse, we want to start in that place where he's good. I'd begin to teach him the tools of the bridge and understanding the clicker, or what a verbal bridge signal, whatever you want, but we're going to refer to it clicking for this thing. So get to a point where you can teach him about the clicker, so he knows what the clicker means, and he knows, he understands that means yes. You want to pair it, you can go on to my basic get your horse off to a good start for clicker training. Is a good way to kind of give you a little rough idea about it. If you don't understand all the principles, I'm really going to recommend you go to the DVD. You can get it in a hard DVD or downloadable video of You Can Train Your Horse to Do Anything, and that will cover more of the principles behind it and give you a better understanding of what you're doing. So whatever it is, but get them started with the bridge conditioning and then the target training. So you want the target to really be his friend, and it'll become a bit of a security. It'll for him and for you in a way, because it'll be everything they do is a choice they make. So as he sees a situation, he thinks, I feel like biting. He is thinking, okay, biting is more reinforcing than not biting. I mean, that's how it stands. That's how it works. They make a choice for the one that has a stronger reinforcement history. So what I recommend you do is make the target stronger than the biting, so that he has a choice. He says biting, target, biting, target. And so by making the target stronger than the biting, that's a choice he's going to make. So he will go towards the target. He will you can ask him to target, and he'll choose to work with you within compliance. This can help him to guide his behavior, to direct him to doing constructive behavior, as opposed to a dangerous behavior. Anyway, so that's where I believe that I know that that would be a great place to start for you. I mean, there's a lot of situations through there that we need to do, but by starting, and as much as you can, you want to keep him below threshold. So as opposed to take him to a place where he goes like this and then you bring out the target, you can almost teach him to create that. But by saying, hey, we're going to walk from here to there, and that's usually a challenge for you. You know, so let's say he's in a stall and you want to take him to, you know, a paddock to be turned out. So, and thinking, well, this walk tends to not be so good, I would in his stall where he's still good and knows his target, or whichever, you know, if that's where you've taught it. Say, hey, can we target? Sure, good. Target, good, sure. And then start by taking him for a little walk right outside and then back in. And then pretty soon start taking him up for that walk, but using the target. Ask him to target along the way, giving him a constructive behavior to do. Technically, that's called the differential reinforcement of an incompatible behavior. He can't bite you and target at the same time, unless you have the target by your head. But basically, you know, holding the target out, he's going to go to the target as opposed to biting you. So you're going to make it more reinforcement, more reinforcing to do the targeting than it is to do the biting. So that is where I'd start with starting to deflect or keep that biting to a minimal through his day-to-day stuff. So, and the more he starts rehearsing his new behavior, the stronger it will become part of his repertoire. So that means you're going to start seeing that more and more as opposed to that biting and that unpleasantness. Now, about his face, I would work with, I mean, basically it's just a form of de-spooking. I mean, I have a de-spooking, you know, series because I find that it's a video series, but I find it's because a lot of behaviors, if we really look at it, it's a form of basic systematic desensitization where we have to kind of teach them how do we deal with auditory, visual, you know, all the little different things. So getting them, how do they react to new things and what is their response? And we can change the choices they make. So anyway, so through that, I would start with some systematic desensitization of his head. For now, I think we need to get that biting in order. And I think if we can get him working with you without going to that biting place and get him more compliant, we're going to see a lot softer. You're going to look for relaxation and softening through that process. So that's what you're going to be clicking for more and more. And then also that I would start to work separately. I would work on getting him so he has some good history with the training. He understands the training. He starts doing the targeting. He likes maybe even have him go to a stationary target for a bit and maybe teach him to lift his legs. Just a few things so he knows he loves the training. And then I would start to work on desensitization and touching his head and his face. But you need to go really slow. Remember, you need to start below threshold. So make it to a point where if your hand comes in and your hand is, it's good, good, good. If it goes here, his head goes up. This to me is threshold. So he's standing like this and your hand goes, and when it gets here, he goes, your hand's getting near. That's threshold right there. So I would start just outside of that zone and work where you can get him where he's good about that. Click and reinforce with your hand is here, or even have him target towards your hand so he's approaching the hand, you're not coming to the hand towards him, and eventually get him so he's coming closer and closer. But look for relaxation is really key in there. You don't want him to tolerate it. We want to counter condition it so we make it so it's something he actually likes. So I had a horse that was my own horse that came to me. Well, he came to me with some ear issues, and he hated his ears touched. You couldn't touch his ears. And so after a while, though, if I just put my hand up, he's like, ears. And so he actually got to the one where he was trying to generate the touching or tactile with the ears. Anyway, so I hope that helps you out and gives you some ideas to get started. I think you have kind of a lot of factors in here that haven't been talked through yet, but if you start to use the targeting and using it in a way and giving him the right thing to do, and then you'll begin to fade the target out of the scenario when you have him responding nicely, but those will be later conversations we should have. So for now, I would start with the targeting, getting him getting compliant and working and realizing there's something in it for him. You realize, I mean, if you think about it, at this point in time, what is in it for him not to bite you? There's not a lot. If you start trying to swing or correct, he attacks you. It's turned into a kind of a big game for him. But by putting something in it that he values, by something that he likes, you're actually going to see that behavior change, and you're going to start to see his attitude change across the board, because all of a sudden there's something for him, in it for him through the training process. He becomes invested in the training process and the outcome. Anyway, I'm kind of excited for you because I know you're going to see some changes if you just stick through with this. And I like to say, in the beginning, it's slower. So it's slow down. You'll go faster because it'll take your time in the beginning. In the long run, it'll go faster, faster, faster. And you have a horse who learns faster than most any horse you knew. So just take the time in the beginning, but I know what you're going to, if you stick on this road for a short bit, you're going to start seeing some changes really pretty quick, and you're going to really be pleased. It makes me happy for you, but it also makes me happy for your horse, because he's going to be a happier horse, and you're going to be a happier owner, and it's all going to be, it'll start to migrate to a place that is really a better quality of life for both of you together in your relationship. Anyway, so I know you're probably going to have more questions along the road. Please don't hesitate to ask, because I'm here to help you on this journey, and I'm really excited for you to getting on with it. Anyway, so this is Shawna Karrasch coming to you from Lincolnshire in England. Until next time. Oh, by the way, if you have any questions, please don't hesitate to get a hold of me at askshawna.com or shawnakarrasch.com. All right, till next time, enjoy getting your horse on target. Bye.